Ho, 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 ho! Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Season's greetings, everyone! Happy holidays, and of course, happy Christmas, because these are the Boxing Day predictions for match day number 19 of the 2021-22 season. And what is the theme of the week? Well, can only be one thing: Christmas! And the song of the weekend is an absolute tune. So here it is. No, I'm joking. Not that one. It's not Slade. I know. So this is Christmas. War is over. Do, 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 do. So Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So that is the song of the weekend. It's Happy Xmas brackets War is Over by John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band and Yoko Ono. But what is, of course, the phrase of the weekend? It's deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. And we are going to get into this week's predictions. Before we do, can I just say, this is a bumper video. It's not just match week number 19, it's also week 20 and week 21. Shall I tell you why? Because it's festive times, right? So we're busy. And the fact that there's New Year games. So we're going to be busy then. So look, it's all in one video. Do smash a like on it and comment down below your score predictions for, in one section, week 19, in the next section, week 20, and then, of course, week 21. And I will get all of them calculated when we do our next video, which will probably be the week 22 predictions video around about maybe the 10th or 7th or something like that of January. I'll see how I go. If not, then we'll have to miss that week and we'll have videos up and running again by the end of January, around the 25th or something. But yeah, that's the plan. Thanks for watching once again, and let's get into it. So let's kick off by saying, what a crazy game week last week. Game week 18, supposed to be 5 games. There was only 4. It was just awful. Another game postponed, but the Premier League will not be going on a circuit break. They have announced that if you have 13 players playing, the game goes ahead. So you could literally have under 23s, but it will still go ahead because they'll find a way to get the squad in. So I'm not sure how much that means. Is that postponement's going to happen, or is it just they carry on as usual? I don't know. It could be either, right? So it goes ahead, which we love to see for the festive footy, but in terms of a health perspective, let's see if it works. Ultimately, though, it is going to be interesting. There could still be last-minute postponements, but we're going to predict all of them as planned because they're going ahead as planned as much as is safely possible. So, yeah, reflecting on obviously week 18, we had a very good week 17. I think that kind of started to get us overconfident, maybe. We got 2 correct scores in week 17, but week 18, no correct scores. Very, very disappointing, I'll be honest. I don't know what was going on there. But, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. You just got to run with it. You got to roll with it. Roll with the times. For some reason, my camera's very slow, which is not very festive, not very Christmas spirit. But anyway, the camera's being a Scrooge. We will plough on. I know it's a bit behind, but just allow me. So yeah, week 18, very, very decent. Ultimately, we went for a Chelsea win against Wolves. Okay, that didn't happen. Chelsea were poor in that 0-0 draw. They really should have lost, to be honest. The goal from Pedent, obviously, Jimenez, he did interact with play and he was offside. Even if he didn't touch it, he makes an attempt for the ball. And he's in the phase of play. And to be fair, that's a great save from Jose Sarted and Pulisic. But really, Chelsea feeding on scraps in that game. So, yeah, interesting stuff for sure. Obviously, Villa, Burnley was postponed. Leeds, Arsenal, we went for a 3-0 Arsenal win. We got this goal difference correct. So it was 4-1 to Arsenal. I mean, what a goal. from Arsenal. The first one, Martinelli, such a brilliant finish. It comes out to him and he just whacks it and curls it into the top corner. And then another good finish as well for the second one, just chips it over Meslier. And then another good goal from Arsenal through the wonder kid Bukayo Saka. He's basically just sitting Dallas and Ayling on the floor and then finishing it off. And then obviously getting back in the game, Leeds, just a needless challenge from Ben White. Good penalty though from Rafinha. He's been dispatching them away very well recently, to be fair to him. And then of course that final goal for Arsenal. And look, he just keeps doing it now, but he's not playing the games. He's coming off the bench. It's Emil Smith-Rowe, and what a pass, can I just say, from Odegaard. That was actually filthy. The little dink, and then the good finish from Smith-Rowe volleyed into the ground. Fair play to you. But yeah, Leeds, obviously I did think they would struggle in this game. They did at least get on the score sheet, but we'll take the correct goal difference. Newcastle Manchester City, obviously it ended 4-0 to Manchester City, so close here, but no cigar, because we said a 3-1 to Manchester City, so the right number of goals. Just we were a bit too optimistic for Newcastle. Newcastle are looking desperate, right? Unless some crazy thing happens where they look like a more appealing club to go to and big names go to Newcastle, then they are in trouble. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, they were just dismantled basically by Man City. But even if you're playing badly against Man City, you've got to help yourself with better defending. And that first goal was awful. What Kieran Clark was thinking, he did a William Troost-Ekong. He was just like, oh, I'll just hesitate and I'll like let the ball duck over me. Like, what's going on? Just head it. Like, put your body on the line. Put your body on the line. Die for your club and don't even think about hesitating and pulling out of challenges. Absolutely awful, but it's a good header from Ruben Diaz. He was never going to miss from there. Really good cross from Cancelo, who just kind of hooked it back into play. And then obviously another goal from Man City. Look, they were just dominant. They were so dominant at the end of the day, and you just got to say fair play. But that, my friends, is what you call a screamer. Joao Cancelo has no right to score from there. He's got no right to have at least the chance of the shooting, because there's no pressing down there's no closing down from Newcastle. He takes a few little touches, goes one way, goes the next, and still doesn't get closed down. Eventually has the shot, an absolute firecracker into that topped left corner. Unbelievable strike. No chance for Martin Dubravka. And yeah, basically the game over by then. So unbelievable season Joao Cancelo is having. The Portuguese maestro, such a great player. And the third goal for City as well. Look, it's an easy one, really. It shouldn't be that easy, but it is. It's a really good cross, to be fair, from Zinchenko. But where's the marking from Mahrez? And he just easily volleys it into the back of the net. And then, of course, late on, Jesus. I mean, was Jacob Murphy ever going to get to him? He wasn't. He was never going to catch him for pace. And Jesus, he's playing in a bit more of a wing position these days, but he's really doing well to provide for his teammates. And that's a brilliant cross for Raheem Sterling, who always scores with Newcastle, it seems. And yeah, getting the fourth goal to really have a big impact. And look, he didn't do enough to get Sports Player Personality of the Year, Raheem Sterling, but he's still had a fantastic 2021 on and off the pitch. And of course, Spurs 2, Liverpool 2. I mean, that was an interesting one. We didn't actually get the correct result for that, because we did go for a Liverpool win. I think a lot of people fancied Liverpool in that game, but fair play to Spurs. They did really make it a contest, and Conte was, you know, animated as ever on the sidelines. It was the most animated game this season. What a match. I mean, there could have been about 4 sending offs, but really there should have been at least 2 when there was only 1. How Kane is not getting sent off for that challenge, which is just as bad, if not, yeah, it's on level with the Robertson one. They should both be red cards. It's just disgraceful. VAR needs to look at itself. Also, how is that not a penalty in the Newcastle Man City game? Edison just completely takes out Fraser. VAR, you might as well just go home. You're not doing your job. We might as well just make these decisions wrong without VAR rather than make them with VAR, because it makes it more embarrassing for VAR when they can't see it. So, look, it's an absolute joke. But we did go for a Liverpool win, 2-0. It was actually 2-1 to Liverpool for a long time. And then, obviously, some great goals for Liverpool, you've got to say. Jota's great header and a really good cross from Trent. Another goal for Robertson. But he did, unfortunately, have a bit of a sad ending. He probably wanted Boxing Day off, let's be honest. But a terrible challenge for sure. Definite red. And obviously Son getting the goal. the last goal before Christmas, Son Heung-min, it was a good finish, but it really shouldn't have happened because Alisson's had an absolute stinker there. So yeah, all in all, not a great week, but obviously there was only 4 games, so what are you expecting? So from 4 points. We'll take that. Correct result in the Newcastle game, 1 point, and correct goal difference in the Leeds game. So we will take that very, very much. But what does that do to the overall predictions league? Let's talk about it going into game week 18. Well, we can tell you that in first position, after a very good score in previous weeks, he's started to dip down now, but he scored last week 2 points. It is the Dugout Football Channel. 190 points now for you, Douglas, overall. Make sure you get your predictions in the comment section below so that I can count up your scores. And in second is me with 167. After my 4 points last week, we've just slightly closed the gap on Douglas by 2 points. So now it's not 25 anymore, it's 23. So we'll take that. Could be worse. In third, DK Jones with 60 points. Not bad at all, but still far off me. And fourth is Potluck Football with 31. DK Jones was decent in the predictions, but only the 2 points this week, and also Potluck got just 2 points as well. So it was a pretty low scoring week for a lot of people. But then looking at fifth place, still the same. Footy Tom, 15 points. Sixth place, Pav Kapoor, 12 points. And seventh, Chris Welch with 11 points. And of course, it's still in 8th, Sport Cat 01 with 8 points. And as you can see here, got the nice little Christmas hat. It has to be done. Got to get festive. But let's talk about match week 19, shall we? Because this is going to be an interesting round of games. As I mentioned, the theme, Christmas. But what I'm saying for these Boxing Day matches is there's going to be a lot of goals. I've just got a feeling. If the games do go ahead, as I mentioned, the hope is that the majority of them will. So starting off, we have got Wolverhampton Wanderers against Watford. Got to start with my team first. Obviously, we've missed our last couple of games because of a COVID outbreak. And the plan is that we'll be making the trip to Molineux. So hopefully we've got over that COVID break now. But I don't know. Let's see how it goes. It could be a 50-50. But no, I think if we do play, it is ultimately a tough game, right? Wolves are no pushovers. We saw that when we played them in the reverse fixture. They're defensively improving the last couple of weeks, which is a bit of a bad timing. But in terms of goal scoring, I'm still thinking there is an opportunity there because Wolves haven't been scoring loads of goals. Jimenez has been decent. Hwang has been injured recently. And they haven't really got goals from much other destinations. But the problem with our defence is that we can't keep a clean sheet to save our life. So, look, we have had a lot of defensive injuries, and that hasn't been helped the situation, really. Troost-Ekong is just doing his best, right? As a human being, as a person, he's a lovely guy, great soul. But as a defender, look, he just needs to improve his performances. But look, this is the chance for him to do just that. We still have injuries to our centre-backs, and I'm not sure. Sierralta might have been pushing to play against Burnley, but obviously that was postponed. So we will find out if Sierralta's fit for this one. I think Sierralta did play in the game in the reverse fixture alongside Troost-Ekong, but then we saw Sierralta score an own goal. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. But ultimately, I still think this is a winnable game on its day. But as I mentioned, Molineux is not easy to go. And we've only won there once, I think, in the last couple of seasons, with a lovely goal from Roberto Pereira outside of the foot, and also a lovely finish from Etienne Capoue, drilling it through a crowd of legs. So, look, we have got a new team. We haven't had many players in the past score against Wolves that are in the current team, but other than Joshua King, who scored there for Bournemouth, and also we've got Tom Cleverley, who scored against Wolves playing for Wigan. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Jose Sarr has been making good saves recently, so we've got to try and break him down. And Saiss as well, it can pop up with a goal. We need to just be careful defensively from those set pieces. But I'm going to predict a Watford win as usual. Obviously, I don't predict every win every week, but this is a game on your day. Come on, let's give that Watford festive, energy. Let's not make the fans, all grumpy and Scroogey over Christmas. This is it. We're back from COVID. We've missed a lot of games. It's been an awful year, really. Let's get a win, please. Come on, you Orns. Wolves 0, Watford 2. And the goal scorers here, I'm going to say Emmanuel Dennis again. I know that he's been in amazing form, and I know that he could equally go to AFCON, but I think get the most out of him whilst he's still here, and then maybe we have to say goodbye, unfortunately. But then the second goal for Watford, assisted by Joshua King, I think it will be an absolute howitzer. Now, this is going to be goal of the season contender, not necessarily for the Premier League, but at least for Watford. It's going to be in the midfield, Tom Cleverley. I mentioned how he scored the Wolves before. It is going to be a classic volley, like the one he did against Palace a couple of seasons back, where he just took it on the chest and took it on the knee and then volleyed it straight top bins, right? It's going to be a half volley into that top right corner. Watch and learn. But let's move on to Norwich City against Arsenal. Those goals, by the way, from Dennis and Cleverley. I'm saying 23rd minute for Dennis and 58th minute for Tom Cleverley. Good old Clev's the captain. Usually Sissoko, but he's a leader off the pitch and on it as well. Norwich 0, Arsenal 3 is what I'm going for. I just think Arsenal will bounce back from recent just performances that haven't been that inspiring, right? Against, I guess you could say, it's before West Ham, right? I think Arsenal were thinking this is a run of games we've got to win. And that's what they did do, to be fair to them, against Southampton. I think it was just that kind of a game against Everton where they're just like, they can be really poor, but recently they've improved. And 3 wins on the bounce against Southampton, West Ham, and now against Leeds will put them into good stead, I think. Norwich defensively have improved, and actually they've not been too bad going forward, but I still think Arsenal will be too strong. Ramsdale's been in brilliant form. Let's say Norwich City 0, Arsenal 3. Lacazette to score, Saka to score, and the final goal for Arsenal I think will come from a little bit of Martin Odegaard. Now, it is going to be a matchup between the teams of Burnley and Everton. I just feel like this has got a 0-0 Boxing Day, last match of the day, written all over it, right? Hate to say it because we don't want any Boxing Day 0-0s, but I just don't see that where the goals are going to come in this game. Burnley haven't been scoring a lot. They have had a lot of postponements, to be fair to them, but I just think they just aren't scoring enough goals, especially with Hornet's injuries recently. I just don't see this being an entertaining one. Everton have been a bit up and down this season. Really, they weren't great against Palace a few weeks back. They were much better against Arsenal, and obviously got their game against Leicester postponed. So I just feel like they'll not be as good as usual, and they'll be firing blanks. Even though it could be the time for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to return, I just think that they will take a few games to get back into form, Everton. Burnley 0, Everton 0, and Luca Dean is not in favour from Ranieri, Rafa Benitez. He's apparently got a disciplinary issue or something, so there's loads of those going around in the Premier League at the minute, with Jack Grealish and Foden and Aubameyang, not another one. Maybe it's just an attitude problem, but he is a good player, Digne, so it makes me a bit confused. Moving on, Brighton Brentford. This could be an interesting one. The late game on Saturday, I think it's a 7:45 kickoff, or an 8 o'clock maybe, but ultimately these two teams have been similarly successful this season, right? Brentford started really well, then they dropped off. Brighton started amazingly well, got in the Champions League places, and then they've really dropped off defensively, and they've not been scoring enough goals in the last couple of matches. But then Maupay comes back, gets a couple of goals against West Ham and against Southampton, and then he comes out the team again. It's like so up and down with Brighton's attack. Welbeck's been out for a long time, but I don't know about this game. This could be an interesting one. I actually do fancy Brentford just because I think they were really good, to be fair, in the game against Leeds a few weeks back. And although they probably didn't deserve the win against Watford, and they probably should have got a point from that because they got dominated for long periods, I think that they will take positives. And ultimately, the last 2 games have been postponed, but they've been playing well, to be fair to them. So I'll say Brighton 0, Brentford 2. Brighton 0, Brentford 1. Can't even read what's in front of me. And the only goal for Brentford, I think, will come from a little bit of... It is the guy that scored against Watford, Pontus Jansson. Alright, let's move on to Liverpool v Leeds. Hopefully we will get this back soon, people, because it's a little bit delayed. I don't know why. Yeah, but basically what I was going to say was Liverpool Leeds. This is Liverpool win for me all over. I think Salah is going to run riot against that leaky Leeds defence, and Leeds, look, just spare them a thought in this game because this is going to be tough. Liverpool 3, Leeds 1. Goal scorers, I think actually Leeds will score first, and it will shock the whole football world with the first goal of the Boxing Day games. I say the first goal, but Wolves-Watford is actually a 12:30 kickoff, so watch out for that as well. 2 12:30s. But yeah, I think Leeds will get their goal through Rafinha again. He just finds a way to score. He's their best player, and Bamford is now still injured because he got himself injured for celebrating. I mean, I don't know how he did that. And they've got no one else. So he's got so much pressure riding on his shoulders, but the Brazilian just steps up to the mark so often. And it won't be a penalty this time. It'll actually be a really good, just kind of like side foot into the bottom corner. But Liverpool scoring goals through Mohamed Salah, once again, the Egyptian king. Then Salah scores a second. And the third goal for Liverpool, Diogo Jota. Now it's a game between West Ham and Southampton. Now this game is interesting because West Ham recently have not been doing that well. Southampton, on the other hand, well, they obviously had their game against Brentford postponed. But before that, they had a bit of an interesting draw against Palace. Armando Brojo's in great form, and Ward-Prowse, what a free kick, unbelievable. But Southampton are just one of those teams, they can blow hot and cold, and I'm not sure how they'll do against this West Ham team. I think West Ham, although they have been out of form, not scoring a lot of goals, this is the kind of game I think West Ham could rip into Southampton's defence a little bit. So we will go for a West Ham 3-0 win. Yeah, I know. Goals here, though, from Antonio, Jared Bowen, and the final goal for the Hammers, it's Pablo Fornals. Now it is game between Spurs and Palace. 1-0 to Tottenham is what I'm saying, because I think off the back of the Palace game recently against Southampton, they will think that that was really an opportunity missed. Although they did come back from 2-1 down, you know, they're not scoring enough goals, they're not keeping enough clean sheets. And Jordan Ayew right now is, you know, their Leeds marksman, which you wouldn't expect to say. So I think this is a tough game. Palace will do what they can against Spurs, but after the really good result against Liverpool, Spurs are feeling resurgent. They're back from that COVID spell. They're back fully fit and firing. And Harry Kane back with a goal last week. Finally, his second of the season. Son is also just doing well in that partnership. Those two, we know what they can be like. They were brilliant last season. So I think this is a tough to ask for Palace. Spurs 1, Palace 0. It won't be battering, but Spurs have enough. And the only goal from Tottenham Hotspur, I think, will actually be scored by a defender. And that defender is Ben Davies. Now, it is between Man City and Leicester. Two cities. Who will they basically pick out from this game? Who are they going to rotate? Who are they going to play? Because also, you've got to remember that in midweek, obviously, you've got the Carabao Cup action. Leicester City playing Liverpool in that one. And yeah, with Man City, they are just one of those teams. They can rotate whenever they like. But I've got a feeling that this will be a tougher game on paper for City than it looks. Leicester have been their bogey team in previous seasons, right? I know Leicester have been a bit up and down this season, but last couple of games really, really good against Newcastle, and also really good against whoever it was before that. It was was it Brighton? No, I'm trying to think who it was before that. They got a really good win. Oh yeah, that's it. It was against Watford. That was it. But yeah, I think Leicester can get a decent result here. Decent enough, but a decent result I think would be losing not by 4 or 5, because that's how good City are. City 2, Leicester 1. Vardy to score first. He always scores v Man City. It's just written in the stars. But the goals for Manchester City, though, we're going to say, first of all, it's going to be Bernardo Silva, who scored in this reverse fixture at the King Power Stadium. And the second goal for Manchester City is going to be a forward, for once, for Manchester City. And it's going to be Gabriel Jesus. Now, it is Villa v Chelsea. This is an interesting one, because we don't know if this will go ahead. The reason I say that is Villa have just had an outbreak in COVID, right? So it's quite recent they just got that, only last weekend. And Chelsea have got a few COVID cases, like Jorginho, like Lukaku, I think Havertz as well. There's quite a few there. So I'm just thinking, Tuchel was not happy that the fact they had to play against Wolves. I'm not saying Chelsea's game is definitely off, but I just think there's only so much the Premier League can make them play. I don't know. But ultimately, they could still put out a younger team with some academy players. However, whatever happens, I think if this game goes ahead, Villa are so good right now. I really rate them under Gerrard, and I think they can actually just keep getting at Chelsea. And they got at City to an extent. They got at Liverpool. They were unlucky. But Chelsea defensively have been quite poor recently. So I'm saying a 2-2. I think this will be a great game. Watkins to score first for Aston Villa. Then Chelsea reply with a goal from Rudiger. Villa do equalise, and it's Watkins again. He's their talisman, of course. And that was a finish with a back heel from a cross out from that midfield area. And it will be a good delivery from none other than John McGinn. He does do well against the big teams, does the Scot. And the goal for Chelsea to make it 2-2, I'm going to say a little bit of, not Timo Werner, because he's still not doing the best he can do. It's instead the guy that really should get more minutes, but he is class on his day, Ross Barkley, the former Villa player. And finally, it's Newcastle, Manchester United. Now this one, Monday night, this will be interesting. Newcastle, obviously, really, really disappointing against City. United, an outbreak of COVID. Will it go ahead? I don't know, because the game against Brentford and the game against Brighton was called off, so sceptical. But if it goes ahead, I think United will have enough firepower. Ronaldo will do it again, like he did against Newcastle in the reverse fixture. I'm saying 3-1 to the Red Devils. Newcastle, I think, will score first, because just they'll try and go the first 10 minutes and see what they can do. And the goal will come from, I don't know, let's say Lascelles. But then the goals for Manchester United, I'm going to say the first one is Ronaldo, the GOAT, of course. And the second goal for Manchester United, we're going to go for a little bit of Fred. A bit of an outside of the box one there. And the final goal for Manchester United, he's not scored, I don't think, as of yet for Manchester United in the Premier League. It is Diogo Dalot. Right, those are my Week 19 predictions. Let's quickly move on to Week 20. We've got Arsenal versus Wolves. And this is going to be another tough game, I think, for Arsenal. Wolves, as I mentioned, have been defensively quite solid. Although I think they will lose v Watford, I also think they'll lose v Arsenal. But it won't be a massive battering. I think Arsenal are good at home. And Lacazette will step up to the plate again for a 1-0 victory. Southampton-Tottenham. This is interesting. Spurs, obviously, have been quite good recently. But will they be as good away from home against the Southampton team that, they have caused upsets this season? I think this is going to be a 1-0 Southampton and another goal against Spurs by James Ward-Prowse. It's another free kick, would you believe it? Now, Watford West Ham is next. This is a game that will be interesting to see off 2021. It's a tough one. Really is a tough one for the Golden Boys. We have to take this game with a pinch of salt and say, look, if we do anything against West Ham, we'll be doing well. Because this team has been really amazing, West Ham, this season. They've beaten Chelsea. They've got a win against Liverpool. They've got points off, some big, big teams. And we haven't, really, other than Manchester United. But, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think Watford will go for this one. And they will go ahead in the game first. But I just got that fear about Antonio. He's just so lethal at the minute. So, Watford 1. West Ham 1. And to score first in the game, I think Joshua King will get the goal. And then the second goal will be Antonio. So it's a battle of the strikers at Vicarage Road. Now, Palace Norwich should be a comfortable one for the Eagles. 2-0 to Crystal Palace. And goals, I think, will come from Zaha and Edouard. And a possible double assist from Conor Gallagher, because he's been involved so much in the last game. So Leeds Villa. This will be a tight one, I think, because these are two good teams, but on their day, Leeds still defensively too weak right now. So I think Villa will edge this game out. Leeds 0, Villa 1. The only goal from Anwar El Ghazi, who has done it before, playing for Villa against Leeds in the Championship. And he also did it in the Premier League, I do believe. Or maybe he got sent off in the Championship. That's what I'm thinking of. Leicester Liverpool. Now, this is funny. This is not too far away from their Carabao Cup clash. Talking of the Carabao Cup, obviously it was weird to see Odegaard and Smith Rowe playing against Sunderland. But anyway, Eddie Nketiah, what a baller, hat-trick hero. Got a little bit off topic there. But Leicester Liverpool will be a tight one, I think, again. Leicester, they have beaten Liverpool in the past before, to be fair. And Vardy loves playing Liverpool, as always. But I still think Leicester won't be able to win this game. I think Liverpool away from home have been so strong. And Salah, he probably won't play the week after that. But I think this will be his time to shine and sign off with a goal against Leicester. Leicester 1, Liverpool 2. Salah to score first, then Vardy to equalise. But the winning goal for Liverpool comes from the striker, Roberto Firmino. Oh yes. I don't know why I'm doing the Dybala celebration, to be honest. I think the Firmino one is this, isn't it? Yeah, that's the Firmino one. But anyway, is what it is. Chelsea v Brighton now. I'm saying a Chelsea big win. Brighton defensively, as I mentioned recently, last couple of games, been slipping off a little bit. I think their injuries haven't helped. But they're still struggling. Chelsea, they have been pretty up and down, but still looking at comfortably third right now. So I think they'll comfortably beat Brighton. Simple as that. Goals from... Who's going to play for Chelsea at this point? I'll say Rudiger, then Reece James, and then finally, let's go for a cheeky little goal from the attacking midfielder. That goes by the name of Mateo Kovacic. Now, Brentford Man City. This is a tough game for the Bees, for sure. They did do well to weather the storm against Liverpool and against Chelsea. Only losing one of those two games and only losing by a goal against Chelsea. And then obviously they did get fairly comfortably beaten against Tottenham. But City are just too good, right? They can turn up against anyone on their day and they can put 4 or 5 goals past you. So that's what I'm going to say here. Brentford 0, City 4. Sterling to score first. Then a nice little goal from Phil Foden. Then another goal from Bernardo Silva. And the fourth goal, Ilkay Gundogan. Now it's Everton Newcastle. This is going to be an interesting one. And again, a bit like Wolves against Watford, I think it's going to be, just as with King against Jimenez, it's going to be a clash of the strikers. It's going to be Everton Newcastle. So that's Calvert-Lewin, if he's fit, against Callum Wilson. Two good English forwards. And I think both will get on the score sheet in the 1-1 draw. And if Calvert-Lewin's not fit to play, then it will most likely be a little bit of Richarlison once he's back from injury. Or if not Richarlison, then let's say Seamus Coleman. And finally, in match week 20, we've got Manchester United against Burnley. This is the kind of game I think Burnley can sit back, try and absorb the pressure, try and hold on for something. They've got a 0-0 v Man United before, but I don't think they're doing it this time. United have been better under Rangnick, I think you can say, but they haven't been spectacular either. So they'll get another 1-0. And the goal here from Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes. Not with the penalty this time. Of course, Ronaldo's on those duties. But instead, with an absolute howitzer of a volley. And finally, we've got week 21. Arsenal taking on Manchester City here. This could be an interesting one, for sure. I honestly think that Arsenal, defensively, have been much better this season. So they're not going to get disgraced like they did against them in the reverse fixture, I think. But it will still be a City win. They are still classes apart. You know, Arsenal still not even looking like they're guaranteed for top 4. Whereas City pretty much guaranteed to be in that top 2 alongside Liverpool. So I think the goals here, Sterling, he does it against Arsenal every single time. And then the second goal, the final goal for Man City, I'm going to go for a little bit of Ruben Diaz. And then it's Leicester v Norwich. This should be a comfortable Leicester win, you'd think. They didn't actually get the job done against whoever it was. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. Bear with. Villa, that was it. Yeah, kind of similar kind of game. A team around the bottom, Norwich, Villa, Newcastle, that kind of that team. But I think this will be much better from Leicester. 3-0. I was doing a bit my best Boris Johnson impression there. Excuse me. But no, the goals for Leicester I think will be Maddison, and then Tielemans, and then the third goal will go for let's say no, he's not going to play, is he, Johnny Evans? He's usually always injured. Okay, instead we'll say the fullback, that is Castagna. He probably is fit, I think. Now it's Watford v Spurs. Tough game for sure. There's no denying this, right? This is a really tough game. I think I mentioned it, but the goals, by the way, in the West Ham game from King and Antonio. First of all, King will score first through 21 minutes, and Antonio late equaliser, but will take a point against West Ham 87th minute. But no, the game against Spurs will be a very tough one, right? I'm not going to deny it. But Spurs have had a bit of a soft centre defensively away from home, right? Not necessarily at home, but away from home. We've seen it in recent weeks. We have seen, Watford do well against big teams. I don't know why. We just seem to motivate ourselves more. So it'll be an interesting one. But I will say that just as with the Spurs' recent results, they will be up, they will be down, and eventually they will get the result. But look, Tottenham, they didn't actually, they didn't play their game against Burnley, so who'd have known if they'd have struggled in that. But this is the kind of game where we could keep it 1-0 for a long time and score our goal on the day through a little bit of former Spurs man. The irony, it's Danny Rose. The scenes if he scores and then cups his ear to the Spurs fans, it would be lovely. But yeah, his goal on 55 minutes. And the next game is between Palace and West Ham. I know it's a bit optimistic to go for a Watford win, but it's the start of a new year. You've got to be optimistic in 2022. Palace West Ham, 2-1 to West Ham is what I'm going for. I just think that those teams around that kind of mid-table position like Palace, they should be winnable for West Ham, who are pushing for the top four alongside Manchester United and Tottenham. So yeah, I don't know. And Arsenal, of course. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I think Palace can on their day win this, but I'm just going to edge towards the Hammers. Palace 1, West Ham 2. Antonio to score first, then Palace to get their goal through a little bit of Michael Elise. But then the other West Ham goal, I think, will be from a defender. This time it's Aaron Cresswell. Now, Brentford v Villa. This is going to be an interesting one. I think this could be either way because both sides, in terms of attacking, have been good. Defensively, that's where the questions lie, especially for Brentford. But I think this will be a Brentford team that's motivated to get a result. Brentford 1, Villa 0. They always put a good atmosphere in at the home stadium of the Brentford Community Stadium. And the only goal of the game for Brentford is going to be that man again, Ivan Toney. But this time, it's from open play. It's going to be a wonderful header from a Sergi Canos cross. And now Southampton Newcastle, 2-0 to Saints. I'm going to go for that because they've been strong at home, Southampton. Newcastle, not so strong this season, but especially not so strong away from home. I think I could see a St Maximan goal here. Did score against Southampton in the reverse fixture, and it's Saint Maximan. See what I did there? But anyway, no, the goals for Southampton I think will be Broja again, and then the second goal for Southampton, it's Tino Livramento. Then it's Leeds v Burnley, and this is a kind of game that could be a bit scrappy, right? You've got two teams that, to be fair, they don't mess about. They get in your face, they put themselves about, and Burnley are a bit defensive, whereas Leeds are very attacking. So it's two opposites against each other. Will they cancel each other out? I doubt it. I think Leeds' attacking style will suit them here. Leeds 3, Burnley 1. Burnley to score first through Chris Wood, who used to play for Leeds, and he'll go and shush the fans. And basically, it's never a good idea to do that in front of Leeds fans because we know what they can be like. They can be quite violent. So, yeah, be careful, Chris Wood. The goals for Leeds, I'm going to go for Patrick Bamford if he's fit. I don't know if he will be by then, but instead, we'll go for a goal if it's needed from Rodrigo. But the goals for Leeds remaining in the game, the second one for Leeds, I'm going to say Luke Ayling. He did score a wonder goal against United in the opening game of the season. And the final goal for Leeds, we're going to go for a bit of Matthias Click. And the last couple of games, we've got Everton against Brighton, 2-2. is what I would go for, but I'm going for 3-2. Richarlison, actually no, not Richarlison, no. Instead we'll say Calvert-Lewin, then a goal from a little bit of Damari Gray. Damari Gray to score another one to make it 3-0, and then Brighton scoring through Morpie and Trossard. But then Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2 should be a good game, I think. Cancel each other out. Goals from, let's say, Thiago Silva. Let's go for Mason Mount, and then an equaliser and 2 goals from Liverpool from Mo Salah. No, I'm joking. Salah won't be here. He'll be at AFCON. Instead, we're going to go for Jota, and then it's going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. And finally, 2-1 to United against Wolves. I'm going for goals from Ronaldo, then a goal from Scott McTominay, and the consolation for Wolves, Adama Traore. Thanks for watching my festive predictions for Christmas and the New Year. Hope you have enjoyed. As I said, get your score predictions down in the comment section. Listen to the fixtures I've talked about, predict each one, and you will get onto that predictions league that I talked about at the start of the video. So thanks for watching. Apologies for the buffering. I've just had a lot of things running today on my laptop, so it's, you know, it is what it is. But we're happy. We've got the video out done. There it is. Enjoy. Have a great Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. And a happy New Year 2022.